Hey, this is Dale Calvert, CMG Sports Card Investments.com. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 insights for those of you that have a personal PC player collector that you're heavily invested in, not just financially, but emotionally, that you keep track of their stats on a daily basis. You're watching their every game, you're watching the reviews of the game, etc. And you're invested in a particular PC player. I'm going to share with you 3 ideas, concepts that I really wish somebody had shared with me earlier, and something that I've never heard anybody else talk about. Most of you know that Pete Rose passed a couple of days ago. I've been a Pete Rose fan collector my entire life. And, you know, I've had many of my business associates contact me and call me, ask me if I'm okay, send me emails. And I sincerely really appreciate that. But I think it speaks to the level of my involvement in talking about Pete over the years and what a mentor he was for me. And it was almost like a death in the family, honestly. And, the mindset, personal development, and self education required for long term lasting success is the real benefits of building any type of business. And many of you know we've been involved in actively documenting our sports card business that we're building on this journey, very part time, just to document the process as we build out a sports card business over the next few years. And there's no question in all businesses, the personal development, self education required is very important. It's something most people overlook, but the real benefit of business is the person you become. And number 2 is the friendships you develop. And I was reminded of that as, I think about Jerry Zink and Alan Knight in California, and several people that contacted me or sent me emails. And then the flowers that you see on the thumbnail is actually from my team of I call them Foxhole business friendships, people that we've worked with over the years and are working with now around the United States. They actually sent me a bouquet of roses uh, because they knew that it would affect me, and it did. Um, so the benefits of business, don't forget the friends. Don't forget it's about expanding your personal growth, development, mindset, person you become, and then the freedom and the lifestyle, obviously, that the income can provide. I did another video on my other business channel called The Life Lessons from Pete Rose. This is different. This I am talking specifically to sports card investors. Uh, and again, as many of you know, we've been on this journey and trying to document the process, because I believe that you can make profits in sports cards following specific systems, and those profits can be guaranteed, where you can get yourself in a situation where you're playing with the house's money and do extremely well if you have a blueprint and a plan to follow. In my business career, nothing's been more helpful for me personally than insights from people that have already gone through whatever challenge or situation I was facing. And for all the collector, player collectors out there, the day will come, it could come, when your PC player, the guy you collect personally, will pass away. And I have 3 thoughts that I want to share with you now, again, that I wish somebody had shared with me. Uh, the day Pete died, September 30th, my wife Dawn and I went to the Braves doubleheader here in Atlanta. We saw the Braves clinch a wild card berth. It was a phenomenal day. And then when we were driving back, we were listening to the start of the game and the post game stuff on the radio. And we pulled in the driveway, and my wife said, "Honey, I got something I need to tell you." And 1,000 things go through your mind real quick. And it's like, "What's wrong? Is everything okay?" And she said, "Pete Rose died tonight. He was 83 years old." And honestly, I was numb. Uh, it was it was numbing. I just had not expected that because in my mind he was going to go in the Hall of Fame, and when he did, I would be there to watch my childhood hero mentor go into the Hall of Fame. That was the picture that I always had in my mind for really the last 30 years, that someday that people are going to brighten up and put the guy that has more hits than anybody in the history of baseball in the Hall of Fame. Of course, that didn't happen and it won't happen. But, I'm not just a casual Pete Rose follower. This is the first pack of baseball cards I ever bought back in 1968. And there's my childhood heroes. I actually pulled this Pete Rose card in the very first pack of Topps cards I ever bought. I carried it with me. I played Little League with it in my back pocket for good luck. And I have been a avid collector of Pete Rose ever since. Uh, this is I just took some pictures real quick of my collection. You guys can kind of get an idea that I'm not just talking the talk here. This was actually a gift my siblings gave me one Christmas, so it had all the covers of magazines that Pete had been on. This is one of my favorite collectibles. It's actually a signed ticket from the night he broke Ty Cobb's record. Um, I've got gloves, balls, bats, a little bit of everything from Pete. And there's the Big Red Machine. In my opinion, the best team that ever played. In my opinion, without question, the best team that ever played. Just the Hall of Famers on that team. And of course, there's the Big Red Machine again, and on and on. I have multiple Pete Rose collectors, so I am talking from experience here. But the 3 tips I want to share with you is number 1, collect what you love and buy more of it. At this point, a couple of days ago, Pete passed, and I wish I had more Pete Rose memorabilia and cards than I actually do. But I do want to share this story with you because I think some of you will appreciate it. Um, my first game was that I ever went to as a kid. I saw this poster at the ballpark, the old Crosley Field, and it was this huge black and white poster. I don't know, it's like 2 foot by 3 foot, and it was $4. And I remember my dad had given me like $1 or 2 to spend, and I had maybe $1 of my own money. I didn't have $4 to buy this poster, but man, I wanted it. And I remember going back and started collecting bottles because back in the day I would find bottles on the side of the road, fill my wagon up with bottles, wash them up, take them to the local small town grocery store in the town I lived in, Stamping Ground, Kentucky, population 400, and I would sell the bottles and I would get 2 cents a bottle. So I decided the next time I go back to Crosley Field, I'm going to have $4 of my own money and I'm buying this poster. And I remember just picking up bottles, saving the money. And we finally got to go to another Reds game towards the end of the year. And I had my $4 for the poster. And I found the souvenir stand that had the posters and walked up, and they had raised the price to $5. And I was just heartbroken. I'm 6, 7 years old at the time. And my dad ended up giving me another $1 so I could buy this poster. And that poster hung on my bedroom wall for years. Uh, for years. And when we moved from Stamping Ground, the little town, to the next town in our county, a little bit larger town, Scott County, Georgetown, Kentucky, where today they make the Toyota Camry. Somehow that poster did not make it in the move, and I lost it. So for years, this was before eBay, I would go to card shows or whatever. My brother and I ended up opening a card shop, memorabilia shop in the late 90s. I was on the lookout for this poster for years during my adult life. And I remember there was a Cincinnati Reds reunion where they were bringing back the 75-76 team in Middletown, Ohio. And this was before I was actually had my shop. And before we were in the card business, my brother and I just wanted to go to the show. And I walked in, and the table directly in front of me had this poster in this frame, sitting right on the floor in front of the table. And I could not believe that I saw it. So I walked up and I saw that's it. And I decided I'm not going to buy it now because I don't want to have to carry it around. It was a huge show, probably 300 tables. So I wanted to go around the show, and then before I left, when I walked out, I was going to buy the poster. And I walked around and I remember buying a bench rookie and just some different cards and a couple of baseballs and just a lot of sports memorabilia and collectibles. And then I walk up to the table and it's gone. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, somebody has picked this up and bought it after I've been looking for it for years. Dale, you should have bought it, taken it back to the car, then come back in and done your rounds around the show. I was just beating myself up and I was just disturbed. And I asked the lady behind the table, I said, do you know who bought the Pete Rose poster that was here? And she said, oh, no, nobody bought it. And it was like $50 is what they were asking for. And again, this was years and years ago. She said, nobody bought it. She said, my husband's got it. Pete's over there signing autographs, and he's going to have him autograph that poster. And I said, well, how much are you going to ask for it? He said, well, the autographs are $25, so it won't be more than $75. So I just sit there and waited until he came back. Obviously, the line was huge. And he finally came back and he brought it. And I said, as I saw him walking up, I said, how much do you want for it? And I'm prepared to pay pretty much anything at that point. And he said, is $60 okay? And I said, absolutely. I handed him three $20 bills as fast as I could. And I walked out of there with this poster, and it's been with me ever since. That was probably 20 some years ago or longer. So that's the story behind that. Collect what you love, and when you see it, buy it. Don't let it slip through your fingers. If you have the opportunity to buy it, buy it. Next thing, if your PC is fortunate enough to make it into the Hall of Fame, be at the ceremonies when they're inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's what I was looking for. So forward to with Pete Rose. Obviously, that never happened. But I was there when Johnny Bench, who was part of the Big Red Machine, when Johnny went into the Hall of Fame, I was there. And that was one of the most memorable experiences, trips of my life, to see, again, a member of the Big Red Machine, Johnny Bench, the best catcher in the history of baseball, elected into the Hall of Fame, and watching that speech. You see them give their speeches on TV, but to be sitting there in the lawn, out in the lawn at the Hall of Fame and watching that whole ceremony was something I will never forget. And I cannot recommend it enough. If and when your PC goes in the Hall of Fame, do whatever you have to do and be there. And then my last tip is choose your grail and don't stop until you get it. And, when I was in the industry, was in the collectible business years ago, and we had our card shop, and my brother and I did shows all over Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana. Grail was not a word that was used. Today it's very popular in the hobby. And it took me a while. What is a grail? And some of you may be asking that. And a grail is simply a collectible, is a card that's highly sought after, but maybe difficult to obtain. Maybe a 1 of 1, 1 of 5, 1 of 25, The term grail is often used loosely in the collectible hobby, but there's multiple ways to define a grail card. It could be have a value that is very, very high and very rare. Maybe there's a certain card that's hard to find in a high grade. It could be a card that's important to you personally, a card that you love and would want to keep forever, a prized possession, or a card that you would really like to own. I mean, and people ask me, Dale, do you have a Grail card? Absolutely. You guys just saw it. You saw it. There, there it is. $1 million. $1 million wouldn't buy that card. And some of you think, well, Dale, you're nuts. No, I'm serious. Dale's first pull. You couldn't give me $1 million for that card. I've had it my entire life. So that's my grail. And again, I'm fortunate because when I was collecting Pete, you didn't have the 101s and all the parallels and all the colored cards and everything that you have to choose from today. So for me, my goal when I was collecting was to have every card of Pete from his rookie forward, have every Topps card of Pete Rose from his rookies forward. And I have been able to put that collection together and have it framed, as you can see here. Those are the actual cards that during my collecting years, when I was heavily collecting before I was into the sports card business, I put this collection together. So whatever your grail is, choose it. Don't stop till you get it. That's really all I wanted to share with you guys, those 3 tips. I hope they make sense. I can't tell you how numbing it has been to know that Pete's gone and he'll never go in the Hall of Fame while he's living, and I'll never get to see that happen. But live, learn, move forward. That's what Pete did in his life, and that's what I hope all of us will do. If you like this type of content, we hope you'll consider subscribing to this channel and check out our website at cmgsportscardinvestments.com. Again, my name's Dale Calvert. Happy collecting, and we'll talk on the next video.